There is no one more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. We live under the impression that we are free. We believe we choose our own paths, our desires, our pleasures. But what if all of this is merely a carefully crafted illusion? In this journey, we will explore how the relentless pursuit of pleasure has become the new face of modern slavery, silent yet devastating. Freedom or illusion? Most people genuinely believe they are living in complete freedom. After all, we are not locked behind bars or under the explicit surveillance of totalitarian regimes like those George Orwell depicted in 1984. However, this assumption might itself be a subtle trap. Orwell feared a future where oppression would come through fear and pain. Aldous Huxley, on the other hand, foresaw something even more insidious: a society controlled through voluntary surrender to pleasure and distraction. Instead of visible chains, we would be shackled by constant gratification and emotional numbness. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Carl Gustav Jung. Jung's statement echoes hauntingly in our times. We often embrace distractions not because we are forced to, but because we are afraid to confront the emptiness within. Thus, the illusion of freedom thrives. A troubling paradox emerges. The more we indulge in distractions, the less aware we are of how much we are being steered, and the less true freedom we possess. Pleasure as a tool of control. Aldous Huxley was among the first to warn that future social control would not rely on brute force, but rather on sensory seduction. Instead of being coerced into obedience, we would willingly desire our own submission. Technology, pharmaceuticals, pornography, and endless entertainment have become far more efficient instruments of domination than any traditional system of oppression. In the future, the ruling classes will learn that control over the masses can be maintained through an endless supply of pleasurable distractions. Aldous Huxley. Today we witness this reality in every glowing screen that seizes our attention, in every notification that rewards us with brief bursts of pleasure. Constant distraction prevents us from thinking critically, questioning, or taking action. Pleasure, when administered in carefully measured doses, becomes an invisible chain so comfortable that few wish to break free from it. This strategy turns entire societies into emotional concentration camps. Vast populations content enough not to revolt, yet too dulled to realize that their real freedom is slowly being eroded. Operant conditioning, how we learn to love our prison. In the 20th century, psychologist B.F. Skinner developed the concept of operant conditioning, a method of behavior modification based on stimulus reinforcement. Skinner demonstrated that it was possible to shape an organism's behavior by offering rewards, positive reinforcement, or administering punishments, negative reinforcement. When applied broadly, positive reinforcement, pleasures, rewards, pleasant stimuli, proved to be more effective and enduring than control through pain. What you resist persists. Carl Gustav Jung. Jung's insight highlights the subtle dynamic of this conditioning. Instead of resisting immediate pleasure, people surrender to it, becoming captives of their own impulses. Today's society has been conditioned to seek instant comfort and to avoid any form of psychological discomfort. Thus, the system no longer needs to impose its will through force. The conditioned population self-regulates, distracts itself, and remains compliant. Operant conditioning turns voluntary servitude into a psychological addiction, reinforcing behaviors that benefit power structures while giving individuals the illusion of freedom and personal choice. The Brave New World has become reality. When Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World, he envisioned a society where pleasure would replace force as the primary means of control. Today, that vision is unsettlingly real. The mass consumption of psychotropic drugs like antidepressants and anxiolytics is evident. The opioid crisis is ravaging entire communities. Pornography, readily available, has redefined human relationships into transactions of instant gratification. Technology, through smartphones and social media, has become an extension of ourselves, a continuous source of dopamine and distraction. It will most likely be sufficient simply to make the pills available. Aldous Huxley. Huxley's foresight could not have been more accurate. Today's pills are both physical and digital. It's enough to make them accessible and trust human desire for pleasure to do the rest. Advertising, social media algorithms, and instant reward systems shape our perception of reality, dulling critical thinking and keeping our minds in a perpetual state of emotional slumber. Huxley's world has ceased to be a fiction. It has woven itself into the very fabric of our daily lives, a hidden dystopia deeply rooted in our routines. Resistance or submission, the choice. We face the future that lies ahead seems to split humanity into two distinct paths: those who willingly embrace their hedonistic enslavement and those who, despite the hardships, choose to resist in the name of freedom and the preservation of their humanity. This decision is silent, personal, and made every day. It doesn't just manifest in grand gestures, but in the small daily choices, choosing reflection over distraction, growth over conformity. Freedom extends only as far as self-awareness reaches. Carl Gustav Jung. Without self-awareness, any notion of freedom becomes a mere illusion. The pursuit of genuine freedom demands effort, pain, and the sacrifice of shallow pleasures. When a slave becomes a happy slave, he has effectively abandoned everything that makes him human. Frederick Douglass. The lingering question is, are we willing to endure the discomfort necessary to be truly free? True freedom is never given freely. It must be fought for each day with courage and consciousness. If we wish to safeguard our humanity, we must resist the seductive chains of pleasurable slavery. If this message resonated with you, like the video, share it, and join us in this journey toward true freedom.